Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are just going to give it a few more minutes for some other people to join the call, and then we'll be talking about the MBA program at Appalachian State within our Hickory cohort as part of our Distance Ed. My name is Kim Kirby, and we appreciate you being here. And again, we'll just give it a few more minutes for anybody who's just joining. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We may have some other folks join the call here shortly, but in the interest of time, I wanted to be respectful of your schedule and your time, and just wanted to thank you for joining us today to learn about the MBA program within our Hickory cohort here at Appalachian State University. My name is Kim Kirby. I serve as the Director of Graduate Student Services here in the College of Business at Appalachian State. So I myself am an alum of the MBA program, so I can attest to the success that it brings and truly the wonderful experience that I had as a student years ago, of course. So really, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our Hickory MBA program. This is specifically geared toward our Distance Education MBA program. If you're interested in learning about the on-campus MBA program, I actually did an information session on that last week, and the playback from that can be found on our graduate programs information session website, which I'll send out after this. But we'll go ahead and get started. So as far as the application goes, so for anybody who is interested in applying to our MBA program, you can see that the deadlines are here on your screen. So the deadlines to apply, we do have rolling admission, so students can apply for fall, spring, or summer. So for fall, the application due date is coming up as July 1, 2018. Spring of 2019 is going to be November 1, and summer of 2019 is going to be April 1. As far as the application requirements go, so it'll be and it's through our application portal called Slate, which is a fairly new tool through the graduate school. But at this point, it's going to be so the completed application, official transcripts from all universities attended, including any other master's degree that you may have obtained, 3 letters of recommendation, copy of your resume, GMAT or GRE score, and so forth. And then there's also a personal statement that they recently added. So one thing to keep in mind is, for those who are interested, I get this question a lot, is the GMAT GRE, can it be waived? So recently the graduate school implemented a policy to for any prospective student or any applicant that has a 3.0 or higher bachelor's GPA and 5 or more years of professional and or military work experience, they can apply to have their GMAT or GRE waived. So if you're interested in learning about that, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll have my contact information on the screen at the end, and I'd be glad to share that policy with you. One other thing that I wanted to mention is, while as we continue this presentation, is if you have any questions, there is a chat box. So if you think of anything along the way, just feel free to put your questions in that chat box, and I will address any questions that you have at the end. So then as far as the application goes, once we receive your application from the graduate school, if selected, we will bring you in for an interview. That is a 30-minute panel interview. More of an opportunity for you to get to know us get to know you, make sure it's a good fit on both ends. And then you usually hear an admission decision within a couple weeks after that. So we try to make the application process as fluid as possible. So some of the advantages of earning a master's degree. So first and foremost, I want to commend you for just starting the conversation about getting a master's degree. We know that statistics tell us that less than 8% of the world's population has a master's degree. So you're definitely on the right track by at least, starting the conversation of what that might look like for you and in your journey. So like I mentioned, we do have rolling admission, so you can begin classes in May, August, or January, depending on what suits your schedule and where your path might take you. So with our Hickory MBA program, the way that this works is for students, this is typically a part-time evening program, more designed for the working professional. So what this looks like is, let's say a student were to come in fall, they would take 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in the spring, 1 class summer 1, 1 class summer 2, and then repeat. And if they stay on that track, then they will graduate in 2 years. And so one thing I always tell my Hickory prospective students is, for the MBA program in Hickory, if you miss the boat on a class, it does not come back around to Hickory for another 2 years because it is on that 2-year cycle. Now, you could certainly come to campus in Boone to take those classes, as many of the classes are offered regularly every semester, but if it's more about the convenience and flexibility of taking that at the Hickory campus, then just make sure that you kind of stay on that 2-year cycle. The other thing that I want to mention about the Hickory MBA program is this distance ed program is moving toward a hybrid program where 60 to 70% of the classes are online and 30 to 40% are face-to-face. So it's really nice because it gives you that flexibility and that convenience, but also does give you that face-to-face component. We currently have about 30 students in the program as of today, and I can definitely tell you that, just from feedback that I've heard, they have enjoyed the convenience of the hybrid program where they can still interact with their cohort and the students in their program, but still have that flexibility because many of them are driving from the Triad, Charlotte, Hickory, Lenore region. So it does give them that flexibility and convenience. Another question that I always get is, do you have to be a business major to apply to the MBA program at Appalachian? The answer is no. We accept applicants from all different backgrounds and all different majors. We have many people, especially in this program, that are from all walks of life. So like I mentioned, this is more of a working professional design program. So, many of the students in this program work and live in various areas from Charlotte to Greensboro to the Triad, Winston, Lenore, Morganton, you name it. So, and they work in all different industries. So you do not have to have a business major. If you are a non-business major, there may be some prerequisites that you would need to take prior to joining the MBA program, or at least taking the graduate level class. So we do have 6 prerequisites that we require. Those are accounting, finance, economics, management, marketing, and statistics. And so what we would do typically when I start the conversation with a prospective student is I ask them to email me 1, a copy of their resume, and then 2, unofficial transcripts, so that what I can do is do a transcript review to determine what, if any, prerequisites you might need upon admission to the program. Once I do my review, I'll send you a letter back, which just might identify what you might need. And if you do need any, there are 2 options to complete prerequisites. You can either, 1, take an undergraduate level class. Some students prefer that professor to student interaction. If you were to do that, that might just delay your graduation, but there is that option, maybe at a local institution that's close to where you live. Or we have an online prerequisite testing module option where for $150 per test per course, you can complete the prerequisite. So what that looks like is you would pay us $150, and once you pay, you would receive an email from Ivy Software. That is our third-party software company that we use, and in that email would contain all of the prerequisite, tests. There's online exercises, there's online tutorials, there's various chapter quizzes that you would take. You would complete all of those, and they estimate it averages about 20 to 30 hours to complete those materials affiliated with each prerequisite. That $150 does also include the cost of a tutor. His name is Louis Alexander, so that if you have questions along the way, he can tutor you through that and kind of help you to understand the material. And then at the end, you take a recorded final exam. That is recorded via your webcam. And at that point, you just have to make a 75% or higher to pass. Once you pass, you're done. If you don't pass, it's $150 to take it again. Generally, most people pass on the first try. It's more just to give you make sure that you're prepared going into the graduate level classes. And as far as when prerequisites are required to be complete, two things. They have to be complete, one, before you take the graduate level class, and two, by the end of your first semester. So, for instance, this fall, the students are taking accounting and statistics. So if you were to enroll this fall, you would not be able to, and you needed accounting and statistics prerequisite, you would have to take those prerequisites before you would actually register for the class. So I hope that makes sense. And so that's a little bit about how prerequisites go. And then another, cool piece is our career services. So we do have our own dedicated career services. Our executive development coordinator, his name is Ken White, and he is actually a graduate of the MBA program through our Distance Ed cohort in Hickory. So he is he's got 30 years work experience. And so his job is really to help you kind of give you the skill sets and work with you on your soft skills as you continue in your career path. And he does a really good job of tailoring it to you as a working professional versus a lot of our population on campus who may be coming straight from undergrad. So that's a little bit about that. So one of the classes that Ken teaches as part of our program is called Executive Skills. And this is a 0-hour credit class, and this is required 3 times while you're in the program. And typically in our, through our Distance Ed Hickory MBA program, they will, this is usually about 3 or 4 times toward the end of the semester. And they'll give you the dates ahead of time so you can plan accordingly. But Ken would come to campus and teach the class, and he would, work on any professional development, sometimes brings in, professional speakers from the working world, and so forth. So, and then we do a lot of other career development activities that a lot of our Hickory cohort MBA students do come to, such as a dining etiquette seminar. We've done, we do a BB&T student leadership certificate where the Student Leadership Certificate Center through BB&T comes to campus and does a whole class so you can get certified through BB&T. So that would normally cost about $7,000, and they do that for free. So it's a pretty neat opportunity there. So some of our highlights, we are very proud that we just received accreditation again this year. That comes up every 5 years, and we just received that again. So we take great pride in being AACSB accredited. And then you can see some of our other prestigious recognitions that we are also proud of. There are additional certification opportunities. As I mentioned, the BB&T Leadership Certification is one opportunity. The other opportunity is to get Green Belt certified in Six Sigma. So typically one of the electives that our Distance Ed Hickory MBA students take is the Lean Six Sigma class with Dr. Dave, who is he's a black belt in Six Sigma. And so he works with a third party to bring in, that comes around usually in a summer while you're in the program, and you can get Green Belt certified, which is tremendous, for your resume and definitely your professional development. And so another thing that we take pride in for our Hickory MBA program is, this is a working professional environment. So you are working with folks that are in a similar place in life. They have families, they have other obligations, and they're also earning their MBA part-time as well. So that's a really neat opportunity, and you kind of learn from each other through this experience. One question I always get is, are there scholarships? Absolutely. So we do have scholarships that students can apply for on a semester by semester basis. Typically, these are going to be more prevalent in the fall and spring and more limited in the summer, just because summer funding is more limited. But, what you would do is our scholarship coordinator, Donna Lindaberry, she would send out an email every semester with a call for applications, and she'd give you a link to where you can go out on our website and submit an application essay to apply for a scholarship. There are 2 types of scholarships. I'll talk about one here. The first type is just a general scholarship, and this is going to give you, if you were awarded a scholarship, that can go toward tuition, textbooks. It would just really be deposited into your student account. And I'll talk about the other scholarship here in a minute, which is a travel scholarship. So there are dual degree opportunities. This is something we take pride in as well. So we have 4 dual degree opportunities. Many of our distance education students do these quite often. So we have an MBA with an MPA, which is a Master in Public Administration. We have an MBA in Higher Education Masters, MBA in IOHRM, and MBA in Physics. I will say that the two primary DE, part-time dual degrees that I've seen would be an MBA and an MPA and an MBA in Higher Education, just because the MPA and higher ed programs also have a DE cohort, so we're able to make that work a little bit better with our DE students. But the nice thing about these dual degrees is you can double count up to 18 hours of coursework between both master's programs. So Mr. Ken White, who I mentioned earlier, was actually a dual degree with MBA in Higher Education. So that would extend your graduation, but only just by a few semesters, and you could come out with 2 master's degrees. So a really neat opportunity there. So one of the things that I also wanted to hit on is our MBA International Experience. So with that, that's a core class, and our students will go on a short-term study abroad. This is usually done over winter break or spring break or Maymester, which is in between spring and summer. But this is a really neat opportunity. You get to work with students at different universities overseas. You do a lot of business visits while you're over there, and you do a lot of historical sightseeing too. Just to give you an idea of where they typically go, winter break is usually Thailand or Cuba. Spring break is usually China. Maymester, which is in between spring and summer, is usually Japan. I know they've done Brazil in the past. I think next year they're getting ready to do Australia as well as India. So you can imagine just how amazing of an experience these are. I got to go to Thailand this past year with our students, and we learned about the medical tourism industry because that's very huge over there. We got to learn about the hospitality. We met with the GM of the Dusit Thani, which is a huge hotel operation, and learned about how that whole process worked. We did a lot of historical sightseeing. We had a lot of fun too, and so there's just a really neat opportunity. From a financial perspective, this is a question I always get. So you pay cost of tuition for the class on top of cost of the trip, and cost of trip will usually range about $2,900 to $3,900 depending on where you go. And so how that works is you would meet with our advisor, Wendy Ding, because advising is required every semester. And so you would kind of talk to her about the various trip options, what you're interested in doing. And then once you kind of solidify which trip you are interested in doing, then she would build that into your program of study and then send you to the trip leader to work out details, get signed up, and so forth. And then as I mentioned earlier, there are travel scholarship opportunities that you can apply for. You would apply for these in the semester in which you're traveling. And so if you're awarded a travel scholarship, that would get deposited into your student account probably a week or so before you actually left for the trip. So that's just a little bit about that. But again, when I was an MBA student, I got to go to China. Now that I've been on this side of the coin, I've got to co-lead China again, and I've got to co-lead Thailand. So I can definitely attest that these are some amazing experiences. And these are just some pictures from our trips. You can see that our students truly do have just an amazing time. You can see, China, Thailand. I mean, we really did some amazing historical sightseeing, got to ride an elephant. They've gone to France, they've gone to Japan. I know a couple of our Hickory MBA students just got back from Japan and Brazil, and they all, indicated that there was just an amazing experience. So this is a little bit of a sample schedule of what it looks like if you were to do the 2-year, MBA program in our Distance Ed Hickory cohort. So what it would look like, as I mentioned earlier, would be, 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in the spring, 1 class summer 1, 1 class summer 2, and then repeat. And then if you stay on that track, then you can finish those 36 hours and graduate in 2 years. And then, we have a lot of information here on our website. So if there's anything, different forms, if you wanted to take a class on campus as a distance ed student, you can do that and so forth. And then one of the other questions that I get is, what are some student resources as a DE student? What is available to you as a DE student? And so DE students are certainly eligible for financial aid. They will work with all of our students. If payment plans, would be required, you would just work with your financial aid advisor on that. We also encourage our students to check with your employer because many employers do offer tuition reimbursement, which is a really neat opportunity. There are also opportunities through the library. So our library actually has access to 17 of the UNC system libraries. So our DE students can check out books for free and have them shipped to you for free. So that's a neat opportunity. We do have a dedicated distance ed librarian, Kelly McAllister, who would work with you on any resources that you might need. One of the other things that we always get questions on, because a lot of our graduate faculty are traveling down the mountain in Boone in the spring or fall semester, there could be times where snow might, not allow the faculty to get there, or the campus might be closed or so forth. So you're automatically put on their alert system. So you'll get an email, a text, a phone call letting you know if classes are canceled or campuses are closed for the day on a day that you might have class. We also have support services. So there is a tutoring center called Smart Thinking. So if you need tutoring on certain subjects that you might just be struggling with or need additional assistance on, we have that available. And then there's also the writing center that's available. If you're working on a paper and you just need somebody to check it over and make sure that grammar looks good and so forth, they can assist you with that as well. And then there's also, you'll also get a student ID that will, make sure that you can get access to the different facilities at your convenience. We also do have, for any students who are interested in connecting with our graduate programs, we do have opportunities to get plugged in. And we have our GSATs as well as our Executive Impact. So this is just a student club. We do have oftentimes a lot of our Hickory students do get involved in this, and they do a lot of business visits. They do, some community support activities and so forth. So this is definitely a really neat student club if you're interested in getting involved there. And then you can just see some of the business visits that they've done and worked with nonprofits. So at this time, this concludes my presentation. I've got on the screen there, I've got my phone number, my email, a link to our MBA at appstate.edu, as well as our Distance Education MBA site. So, feel free to check out this information or shoot me an email or give me a call. At this time, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box and I'd be glad to answer them. Or you can unmute yourself and ask. Does anybody have any questions at this time that I can answer?
Hey, Kim, Jason Ramey here. Just wondering if it's possible to get a copy of the presentation. I've been making some screenshots as we go along, but
sure. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Great question. So what I'm going to do after this presentation is I'm going to send out an email just as a follow-up, and I'll include a link to this presentation. I'll also include an overview document, which will kind of give you information on what we discussed today as far as the application process, prerequisites, and the program in general. I'm going to also send out the GMAT or GRE waiver policy, and I will also send a playback so that if you want to go back and listen to this, you can too, and I'll include this PowerPoint as well. Are there any other questions that I can address at this time about the program or so forth, anything that anybody needs? I'm glad to answer now. Okay, well, that concludes my presentation. Again, thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure having you on and here to learn about our, I think I've got a chat. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see. I think that, let's see. Jeff, did you have a question? I'll make sure I got you. Let's see. Jeff, I'm going to unmute you. Do you have a question that I can address? How often a week do you come, do you have to come to campus? Okay, great question. So how often during the week do you have to come to campus? So with the hybrid program, what that looks like is, I'll give you an example for, because it's about 60 to 70% of online and then via Zoom and then 40% face-to-face. I'll give you an example. So for fall of 2018, as I mentioned, they're going to take accounting and statistics. So for accounting, that'll be on Mondays. And on the Mondays that they do meet, they're going to meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 8 times they'll meet for accounting, and that will be on Monday. So like August 27th, September 17th, and then we have a whole list of dates there, but they'll meet about 8 or 9 times for that accounting class. And then for the statistics class, it's about the same, 8 or 9 times, and those will be on Wednesdays. But the classes will always meet on Monday or Wednesday when they will meet in person. And then executive skills, in the fall will be on 11/28, 12/3, 12/5, and 12/10. So the nice thing about that is they end the accounting and statistics classes early so that they can, they can build in those executive skills classes before the end of the semester. What other questions do y'all have? Does anybody have anything else that they can think of or need anything else that I can address? If you think of something after we hang up, you can shoot me an email or give me a buzz too. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure meeting with you all. Thank you again for attending, and I hope this was informative for you. And again, feel free to reach out if you need anything else, and I hope you have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Kim.
Take care. Bye-bye.